a new, exciting open source blockchain platform has been born. Its core mission is to develop easier and more affordable tools for everyone to be able to create tokens and NFTs. For the first time, we're introducing the innovative Tokel platform, a fully decentralized, community-driven project with contributors globally. It offers many new powerful features for artists, content creators, and event organizers and token owners. Tokel is building the future of tokenization together with the help of Komodo Technologies. Creators and users have the freedom to create, to hold, buy, sell, and trade tokens with ease. Developers have the freedom to build on top of the platform's layer. Tokel has features such as simplified token creation tools, token decks, and NFT marketplace. The NFT creation process has an extremely low barrier to entry. Businesses and individuals can now benefit from the token economy by using tokens in everyday life. A built-in decentralized exchange enables peer-to-peer trading. Tokel.io, the future of tokenization to NFT and beyond.
Greetings and welcome. I'm Giuliano, and you're listening to Tokel Talk. We have tremendous guests joining us today with lots of experience and wisdom to share. We'll be talking about NFTs, securities, and charities. So, returning today, we have our guest, Brian Magierski. You might remember him from Cerebrum DAO. Brian is a serial software entrepreneur whose daughter's story moves him to employ crypto blockchain technologies in his efforts to support medical research and other causes such as inclusion, education, caregiving, and more. Brian is here to talk to us about Cerebrum DAO, Decentralized Science, aka DeSci, and new models and NFTs for ROI based investments to accelerate research and cures. Thank you so much for joining us here, Brian.
Thanks, Giuliano. But glad to be back.
Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, you're on a valiant mission. Inspiring.
Thank you.
It's it's inspiring to us all.
It's a hard slog, but it's worth it.
Wonderful. Well, also here from the Tokel team, we have Kelsey. Hi, Kelsey.
Hello, happy to be here as usual.
Awesome. And yeah, Dream Tim is around. And if you would like to contact us, visit our website, tokel.io/tokeltalk. So now we're going to turn to Kelsey for some NFT stats and news. What have you got for us, Kelsey?
Well, the global market cap for the NFT industry is sitting at just over $2.2 billion. There were over 61.7 thousand NFTs sold last week for a combined sales volume of over $38.6 million. Over the last week, a Bored Ape sold for $1 million and another one sold for $200,000. A super rare NFT sold for $275,000. An Art Blocks NFT sold for $173,000. And a Woman Ape Yacht Club NFT sold for $173,000. The top collections over the last week were Bored Ape Yacht Club, Other Side, Moonbirds, Clone X, and Woman Ape Yacht Club. In NFT news, LG is bringing NFTs to its smart TVs. Just months after Samsung announced that it's bringing NFTs to its TVs, LG is now doing the same. The company's new NFT marketplace called LG Art Labs lets you buy, sell, and enjoy high-quality digital artwork from your TV. For now, only users in the US with an LG TV that runs WebOS 5.0 or later can access the app, which is available to download from the TV's home screen. Through the portal, you can buy and sell digital works made available through LG's NFT drops. The first one of these drops is set to occur on September 22nd. The event ticketing behemoth Ticketmaster announced this week that it will adopt the Flow blockchain from Dapper Labs for minting tickets as NFTs for select events. The NFTs will function primarily as collectible digital memorabilia, but also as shareable proof of attendance. Over the past 6 months, Dapper Labs and Ticketmaster quietly launched an NFT pilot program. In it, Ticketmaster automatically issued ticket NFTs as memorabilia to attendees of specific events. In the pilot program, more than 5 million Flow NFTs were minted in a 6-month period. In soccer news, FIFA is bringing NFTs to the World Cup and has chosen the occasion of the 2022 Qatar World Cup to launch an NFT-based collection of classic clips from the history of the international soccer tournament. The collection is titled FIFA Plus Collect and will launch later this month and will allow soccer fans to own and trade moments in time featuring the greatest goals, saves, celebrations, and more from the World Cup. The FIFA World Cup NFT clips will be connected to the Algorand blockchain as part of a deal cemented back in May. Over 56 international artists are currently exhibiting their NFTs in Times Square. From the 5th to the 11th of September, the Armory Show is hosting an exhibition entitled NFT Contemporary and Digital Art in Times Square, the center of New York City. The billboards in Times Square will feature the works of as many as 56 digital artists, including NFT pioneers from around the world. We also have some exciting news in wearable NFTs. On Tuesday, Artifact's Clone X announced the first season of its forging system, which enables users to acquire physical merchandise based on their specific NFT. The drop allows owners of specific Clone X NFTs to order merch that is tied to their avatar's DNA. The wearables include hoodies, jackets, t-shirts, hats, socks, and sneakers, making it one of the largest drops the NFT space has ever seen. The number of items each holder will be able to order depends on the number and type of tokens they have. The limited edition Clone X Genesis t-shirt will be free to mint for all Clone X NFT holders. To create another layer of interconnectivity, each item is equipped with a near-field communication or an NFC tag. These tags make the items fidgetals and open up the opportunity for token-gated use of the merchandise, like access to events. The collection went live on Wednesday and will be open for minting for 1 week, so there is still 1 day left to mint. After the mint has concluded, users will have 1 week to forge their NFTs for the physical items. And in other news, Washington State has become the first U.S. state to tax NFTs. Although taxing non-fungible tokens is tricky because of uncertainty over where they are sourced, other states look set to follow suit in Washington's lead. Washington State added NFTs to the list of properties subject to its sales and use tax provisions in July, making it the first American state to do so, though it is likely to not be the last. The blockchain trading company nonfungible.com estimated that there are 17 billion in NFT transactions worldwide in 2021, while others put that number at about 25 billion. It's still a huge opportunity for states to begin collecting money from the sales of NFTs. And if you would like to learn more about the last month of NFT stats and news, be sure to check out the Tokel blog on our website, tokel.io. Every month, we try to bring you a rundown of the most important NFT stats and news. And that's what's happening in the stats and news section for this last week.
Perfect. Thanks as always, Kelsey. And we also have Maddie Greenspan here. Maddie, you just keep your mic muted. I'm going to introduce you, and then you can unmute and say hello. We have Maddie Greenspan. He's an acclaimed investor and entrepreneur. He currently holds an advanced license for portfolio management and is also co-author of the book, The Complete Guide to FinTech. He has expertise in NFT, blockchain, customer-facing tactics, Web3 integration, community building, user interface, tokenomics, and more. Among these, Maddie is here to talk to us about INFs, which are independent non-fungible securities. Maddie is founder and CEO of Quantum Economics. and is currently managing 28 highly skilled builders in the blockchain space. He's been a contributing writer to various sites, including investing.com, FX Street, and Hacked. And he's frequently cited in financial media like Bloomberg, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Reuters, and so many more. Hello, Maddie Greenspan. Welcome to Tokel Talk. We're so happy to have you here today.
Thanks, man. Good to be here.
Wonderful. Well, yeah, just a reminder, when you're not talking, you can keep your mic muted. And then also, if you have any questions that or curiosities or points you want to make at any time, just jump in and go right ahead, okay? So yeah, thanks for taking the time to be here. All right. Well, yeah, our other guest here is Brian Magierski. And so we are going to maybe get to know you a bit more. Brian, why don't you give us a refresher on your story with your daughter and your mission to advance medical research and find cures and such?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Briefly, I've been in software and starting software companies for over 20 years, and have been taken to crypto for several years now. And three or so years ago, my youngest daughter, so she has Down syndrome, and Down syndrome has many things. It's a triplication of the 21st chromosome, but it manifests itself as an immune system disorder. And when she was born 11 years ago, we dug in and looked at all the things we would need to do to be able to support her as parents. And the couple things that jumped out were really the accelerated aging and the early onset of Alzheimer's disease. I just knew it because I knew that disease didn't have any real solutions in the market, and was perplexing, the science community and everybody, and it was leaving a lot of people with some really devastating outcomes. And the years ensuing, it was only getting worse. And a few years ago, my daughter had her first autoimmune disorder, which is relatively minor, and it was kind of a wake-up call. And I just thought to myself that, I'm an entrepreneur. I've done stuff in software. I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm not a researcher, but there's got to be some way to have an influence on accelerating cures and solutions to this condition. And over those 7 years, we learned other things that were needed, such as inclusion supports and other things that were immensely valuable for the entire student population in the schools that my daughter went to in preschool. And it just drove me to a lot of causes and other things to support her. And I knew if we did that, it would be supporting a lot of other people beyond just people with Down syndrome. So I started looking a few years ago at how do I kind of combine my love of entrepreneurship and software with this new platform that's emerging, which is blockchain. And what can I do within my skill set and abilities if I dedicated myself to it to kind of affect change in the world for the better? And the study of blockchains and blockchain systems and crypto economic systems, I dove deep. I looked at it from a technical perspective. I looked at doing a few things in healthcare, and I also used it as an investor, and ultimately by 2020, 2021 as a user in DeFi and NFTs. And I kind of came away with the conclusion that blockchain, mechanisms, crypto economic mechanisms, are really the single greatest force I've ever seen for coordinating talent and capital on a global basis to go after a common mission. And so with that context, I just started thinking about how can I affect change by pooling talent and capital and going after things like inclusion, education, and equality, and how can I pool things like going after curing or accelerating cures to diseases. And I popped through DeFi protocols and looking at yield generation mechanisms and the high yields that were happening, and thought maybe I can do something in DeFi. And I had concerns about the sustainability of those mechanisms. And I also I got attracted to NFTs because of their ability to coordinate people through propagations of means and building communities. And then I kind of got struck by a bolt of lightning when I saw something that's called the Nouns DAO. So noun as in a person, place, or thing. And if you guys haven't seen it, it's nouns.wtf. They've been around for a little bit over a year. And it's some NFT OGs in the pixelated art community that created a pixelated character that represented a person, place, and thing. And it was really cool and kind of respective of the the pixelated CryptoPunk art. But what they really invented was this powerful mechanism of a DAO that was funded and governed by the daily sale of NFTs. And it took off like a rocket ship, and the first sale through a daily auction, one a day, went for over 600 ETH. And then the price dropped into the 60s and 70s, but then it kind of settled in around 100 ETH a day. And they were amassing a treasury really fast. And on top of that, I kind of got into the community and watched what they were doing. And through the slow onboarding, one a day of new members and a sizable treasury growth every day, it was actually becoming a very functional DAO. And the DAO's total mission was to propagate this meme or this character of the noun. And so I stepped back, I looked, I said, you know what, this is an investment DAO. And it's an investment DAO that's creating a global brand. And I'm like, this is really powerful. What if we turn this against causes like I'm after and turned it into a charitable DAO that was like all for causes? And so we had this character called the Cherub that we were trying to promote. And we started piloting a fork of the Nouns DAO with this modern baby angel character that represents good called the Cherub, and targeted at all causes. And it's kind of migrated from there. I was on the show a while ago and we talked about that. I've gone deeper into how do we pursue cures. And I'm using a similar mechanism with different twists on it for what I call Cerebrum. And we're reinvigorating the Cherubs DAO as well. So yeah, that's where I am. But it's a powerful mechanism, and I think it's going to be deployed for a lot of good. And I'm eager to get it out there.
Sweet. Yeah, sounds very exciting. You mentioned Cerebrum. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about Cerebrum DAO then, and what your vision is, what your mission is, what you're going after with that? And maybe that ties into decentralized science somehow, but let's get into DeSci as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, as we were going through Cherubs, and I still had this itch to make sure I pointed the mission toward curing Alzheimer's and accelerating solutions and cures to other neurodegenerative diseases. And I recruited some other people in the biotech and scientific community around that. But Cherubs are really spread across all causes. And so the question came about, it's like, well, how does this, how can we attract capital at massive scale? Because we need big dollars to be able to have an impact on things like Alzheimer's disease. And so we started thinking about it more like an impact fund. And so Cherubs DAO is going to be the daily auction of cherubs, and it's going to look like Nouns DAO, probably not get the same price point, but we're really kind of a decentralized charitable organization pursuing causes from climate to inclusion to curing diseases. We said, well, let's create something specific that's more like an impact fund. And so Cerebrum DAO is going to be, we're creating brain-oriented artwork, which I can talk a little bit more about later, but we're mapping out the connectome, which is really just lighting up all the neurons and brains in different patterns. So unlike a picture of a brain, which can look kind of ugly,
cool.
Inside the brain, if you map the connectome, it's actually vibrant and beautiful and would rival some of the best art blocks art out there. So we're creating really vibrant, compelling art with our NFTs, but we've created more like an investment structure, an impact investment structure. So we're going to do the daily sale of Cerebrum NFTs. But the DAO itself is allocating 80% of its capital to invest in biotech companies and digital solutions. So we seek M&A and IPO outcomes and royalty licensing agreements to try to really accelerate solutions that are going to have an impact in the real world for curing diseases. And that ROI comes back to the DAO. So in addition to the daily sale of the NFTs growing the DAO treasury, the returns that we generate will exponentiate the growth of that treasury. But we reserve 20% of the proceeds to make either charitable grants or royalty-based grants to fund primary research. So this is basic to translational research to try to accelerate things out of the lab and accelerate their pathway to impact outcomes. They'll create future portfolio companies for us, but we really feel like this is kind of like a symbiotic relationship between an investment outcome and seeding the future of research and solutions. And so with a DAO structure and NFTs, we can create a marketplace that's global and open to the public, and we have a lot more flexibility than if we just created a private investment fund and went knocking on doors of accredited high net worth individuals and deployed it in that manner.
Right. And so you're talking about new models and the effects that they're going to have and the way that people can join in on this mission and follow through with you.
Yeah, the Cerebrum DAO model I can talk about a little bit more later too, but there is a thing, there's an evolution of philanthropy called venture philanthropy, and it's where nonprofit organizations actually make for-profit investments with the idea of the money coming back and exponentiating the growth of their foundation. The using a DAO and an NFT takes it to a whole new level because now even those venture philanthropies typically, are available to high net worth people with minimum buy-ins that are out of the reach of most people. And there's no returns and there's no secondary market. But with an NFT, you've got a liquid marketplace that can, trade reflecting the NFT itself and the impact the organization's having. But we can also sell it to the public, and you can fractionalize it, making available to a lot more people at reasonable price points. So we think this is kind of the next level of venture philanthropy targeted at medicine.
Very cool. And so would you consider this, is that what decentralized science has to do with? Is DeSci, can you tell us a bit more about it? Like, what are you dealing with there?
Yeah, DeSci is a broad topic. So we're trying to be a thought leader in DeSci. So we've created a community called the DeSci Collective. You can find us on Twitter. That's our handle, DeSci Collective, DESCI. It's a broader topic. So DeSci is about decentralized science, and it's looking at everything from the publishing industry, which tends to be very gated and pay to play with a couple journals, and leaves a lot of barriers for inclusion and openness in science. Down to how research gets funded, down to how biotech and solutions get funded in science, and it also looks at data access and a lot of other things. So there's a broad canvas that decentralized science is, and it's probably got a 10-20 year lifespan to really reimagine how an open science movement could be created with tokenized models. I think the first product market fit in DeSci that we're seeing is the use of tokens, whether they're fungible or non-fungible tokens in DAO structures to fund research at the basic and translational level that generally cannot find funding effectively because most of those funding sources are fairly centralized, whether it's coming from National Institutes of Health or very large billionaire foundations, and they take a long time with a lot of effort to get dollars flowing. So I think the product market fit for DeSci, the first one is really these what they call bio DAOs and other DeSci DAOs that are going to be solving the funding problem first, and that's kind of where we're putting our attention.
Great, amazing! You're really bringing us a lot of food for thought here, and indeed, DeSci is understandably broad. Yeah, you're helping us to get a glimpse into it. And yeah, you were mentioning about how you really like the like crypto economics and the decentralized systems themselves, which I guess is what enables this DeSci and what you're talking about. And that's pretty amazing. And I guess before we move over to Maddie, I'm just curious. You did mention the art. Is there something more you wanted to say about it? Because I do imagine, the neural networks and such are beautiful, and so that if you're putting them into an artistic format, they would be appealing of their own right. Is that what's happening?
They're absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I mean, we took so the cherubs are generative art, but they're generative in the context that they assemble various parts into different body shapes and features. But yeah, this is kind of like if you slice there's a project called the Human Connectome Project in the U.S. government. It's been funded for about 10 or 15 years now. That is actually mapping the connectome, which is all the neurons and the connections in the brain. So they've got imagery on this. And if you actually Google connectome or Human Connectome Project and look at some of that imagery, it's fantastic. But it's images that are taken. So what we're working on is a generative algorithm that can recreate those types of images, which would sit within a noun style mechanism where we can mint a random one every day when we sell the NFTs. But it would look vibrant, and it would respect the science and connections of the neurons. It's some of the most beautiful art I've seen among NFTs anyway.
Perfect. Well, that's very beautiful to hear, and yeah, looking forward to it. Everybody can check it out. As I guess that's basically it for now. I did want to move over and just bring in Maddie Greenspan as well, who is here joining us. And yeah, thanks so much, Brian. I mean, there's just so much there. I'm losing my words here to continue. So I'm going to just take it over to Maddie, and then we're going to open it up for a bigger discussion. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask Brian actually just before, but maybe we'll ask it after. It's just about what chain you're using for these yeah, NFTs. But okay, we'll talk about that after. Maddie, join us back again here, and give us a brief review of your background, how you made your way into crypto, and yeah, why you're interested in crypto and working with the crypto blockchain tech.
Thanks, man. Yeah, so my name is Monty Greenspan. I'm the CEO and founder of Quantum Economics. We're a firm that does research and advisory in the crypto space. We've got about 35 to 40 analysts who are movers and shakers, prolific writers, and generally people who like to build stuff within blockchain. We've got a few spin-off companies and advisory roles that we're fulfilling for some of the most exciting projects that are out there right now in all of the different niches of Web3 and tokenization. I got into crypto in 2013. I was working for a small online broker at the time known as eToro. And the CEO, Yoni Assia, had a dream to kind of tokenize the entire brokership, even at that time. And he got really into. He was talking about tokenization and stuff, even as far back as like 2011. But he gave me my first Bitcoin in March of 2013. And I've been keenly on top of the space pretty much ever since then.
Amazing. And now I'm learning about INFS, independent non-fungible securities, because of you. So can you break that down some more for us?
Yeah, definitely. So INFS is quite unique in their solution that they bring, and I really enjoyed what your other guest here was talking about, programmable money and using it as a force for good. Um, quite literally, the solution that INFS has brought is um, revolutionary in the way that it's unique um, to basically utilize the properties of blockchain and do things that it would not be possible otherwise. And in this case, it's taking a financial asset and kind of backing it with real world goods and guarantee, um, and also giving it, properties such as kind of the participation with platform building and stuff like that. So basically, the idea was brought by a friend of mine, Elias, and he is also working with a company known as Evel, which is they've been doing jewelry in here in Israel since the 1970s, basically, and they win all kind of they've won all kind of awards, prizes for their unique style of pearls and the way that they set their jewelry. So basically, they the very interesting artists, and they built a school for immigrants, helping them learn how to create jewelry and stuff like that. A really amazing facility in Jerusalem that anybody who's in town, I definitely would be happy to put you in touch. And they have a pretty cool, really awesome tour that they give, just showing their work. And for anybody who's especially for anybody who's into jewelry. But Elias was looking at NFTs and saying, "Was like, what can I do? What can we do to further the space?" And they came up with this idea of creating NFTs that are backed by the jewelry that they
Oh
are
yeah,
that they're
the
producing.
jewelry that you mentioned before there is
Yeah,
getting backed into the NFTs.
exactly right. So anybody who's holding the NFT also has a claim of ownership on the jewelry that's in their vault. So let's say they bought the NFT for $10,000. They're also the NFT. So that NFT. Well, first of all, you have golden coin, which is unique. That represents the ownership of the NFT and actually physical ownership. And then you also have that coin is also um, a claim on $10,000 worth of jewelry. So, meaning that if the project doesn't work out, or if you change your mind, or if for any reason you want out or something, you don't want to be a holder anymore. You're always instantly able to convert it for dollar amount
Right. It has
of
that material backing.
the physical backing. So
Yeah.
um, obviously, as an investor, this is very exciting because I'm invested in so many things across my career, and even before crypto. There's always that calculation in your mind goes that you say, okay, what can I lose, and what can I win, and what do I stand to gain, and where's my risk? And in this case, the risk really is, I mean, as long as you trust, a company, the jewelry company themselves that's been around since the 70s, and has a physical location, which is quite impressive, and a history of awards. So as long as you trust that that's not going to go completely kaput, your risk in purchasing the NFT is really minimal, because the worst thing that can happen is you've bought jewelry, right?
And
Um,
yeah,
but
and you can
whereas
even just transfer it. You can even just transfer it as the NFT, and the jewelry stays where it is. And there you go. That seems pretty simple and straightforward.
Exactly right. And
Yeah.
on the upside, you're also gaining, revenue share in the platform that they're building with this, which is a platform for creating security NFTs, which a lot of I've seen projects that go, okay, wait a second, we're going to create an NFT just because we want to dodge securities laws. Now I don't understand how the SEC is going to look at that in a year or two. But in this case, they're looking to create fully regulated securities or NFTs that are fully regulated securities, um, which basically, for those of you who are familiar with the legal challenges and regulatory and compliance issues, they're basically bypassing those hurdles for anybody who'd like to come into the space and create similar offerings. And I believe that in itself, these are something that can save people millions of dollars in legal work and a lot of time, which in many cases is a lot more important than the money.
Right. So,
So
oh,
yeah, it's just something that I'd never seen before, and I
mhm.
was and that doesn't happen very often.
So, well, interesting. And so you must be totally interested, of course, and curious about it and want to get involved. And so there you are. And with these securities, they are um, they're yield bearing assets of some sort, and then that would be part of the yield or earning that the NFT holders would get. Is that the idea?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Oh,
basically utilizing blockchain technology
hmm,
in order to infuse financial assets with new properties that has never been available before. So there's this programmable money, but now we're talking about kind of programmable shares, which
nice.
to me is just it's next
Very
level
cool.
stuff.
Yeah,
And
very
you,
cool.
you you see some of these NFTs that are just a profile photo, and you're just like, come on, man, make something,
So
innovate.
the next iteration of the NFTs is going to be more complex. It sounds, and is going to, well, in your case, you've got this how do you say, regulated NFT security. And what are some of the things that could be backing this security? Would it just be financial instruments like that, or could it be more physical properties like real estates or other businesses or things like that? Like, could you buy a bunch of businesses? What does it look like for you, or what are some possibilities there?
Yeah, and with the sky is the limit. It really could be anything, and I believe that off the record, and they're looking to partner with another project that is in real estate and guest services business. Um, that also could potentially benefit from this type of
Right.
offering, and even become their first client once the platform is up and running.
Okay.
So yeah, it could certainly be anything that's back. It's like
Okay.
the possibilities are only limited to our imagination.
Okay, sweet. And then, I wonder if this, I guess maybe the yield or whatever gets returned is part of the whole crypto economics situation, programmable money, where you can make a coin out of it. Is that how the yield gets passed on, or how does that work? What is the yield that they receive? Or there are many options. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, in this case, well, one of the things that I thought was interesting about the current market conditions, um, back around January, I bought a pair of diamond earrings for my wife. This was, obviously when the market was doing very well, and I did not realize at the time that that would soon turn out to be my most successful investment of the year, right?
Nice.
Because
Very nice.
the price of commodities went up, and just about every other financial asset went down at the time. So, um, investing in jewelry and stuff like that. These are type of thing that tend to hold their value over time, even in poor market conditions. Is an excellent way for people to diversify themselves. And at the same time, make a significant other very happy. Um,
Nice. Yeah.
so
So,
in this case, I mean, your NFT itself is actually backed with those goods that do have a tendency to appreciate in value,
perfect.
and that's in addition to the yield that you're getting by participating in the revenue share of the new platform to be created.
Nice. Well, we're getting relationship advice from Maddie Greenspan as well, relationship financial, off the record, of course. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So like for example, the jewelry that you talked to us about first, and the NFT backing it. That means that somebody can redeem for the jewelry itself too. They could take delivery of it themselves as well.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, you've got
Okay.
the gold coin as a physical um, manifestation of the asset you're holding, and then you have the NFT on the digital
See,
side, and that can be used as a claim
amazing.
for for real world goods, and
That's
that's the
powerful.
innovation here.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much so. Well, I mean, that's pretty amazing. Maddie, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about around this, or anything else that you have on your plate that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm always, I'm involved in a lot of different projects, and you can probably speak for for 4 hours
For
on end
quite some time, eh? I was thinking that
about
we
all
could
of them.
make these shows 90 minutes or 2 hours, but anyway.
A few days, try it.
Okay.
But certainly, yeah. I mean, you're welcome to connect on Twitter or LinkedIn,
Sweet.
or subscribe to our newsletter on quantumeconomics.io, where we're sharing market insight and information and everything that we're working on.
Well, that's amazing, and I'd love Brian to jump back in here if you can, and we can chat all of us together, because you guys are really right in the thick of it and advancing the space on different fronts or similar fronts as well. Um, I'm just curious, yeah. Again, like if we could dive into some tokenomics, token economics, crypto economics, I feel like that is a fascinating subject that get sometimes the nuances don't really get spelt out. And if your wisdom around these things can be shared around here, we would definitely appreciate it. So yeah, like what are your general thoughts around all that? And if there's any particular point you want to drill down on, well, please do.
I mean, I can talk a little bit about how we're thinking about it for really for Cerebrum DAO, and
Yeah, do
it
that.
should apply for Cherubs as well. It's an interesting model when it comes to this, because when you look at some of the bio DAOs in DeSci that are investing in longevity research and a couple other categories, and uh, Cerebrum DAO, I mean, a lot of these projects go out of their way to try to avoid securities designations because you're selling tokens to the public. Um, and there's really no guarantee of financial return. So when you look at Nouns DAO, so Nouns DAO has been operating for over a year, and their daily auction. So there's a market price that's set every day through the sale of the NFT. It's held pretty steady, and when you think about it, one new NFT is created, so one new fractional share of the DAO is created every day, and the price paid for it goes into the treasury of the DAO. So the price of the daily auction should reflect your fractional share of that treasury. And that's kind of held true with Nouns DAO. So it's been kind of the proof of concept, even though you're not guaranteed any distributions. How we're thinking about it with Cerebrum is the same way, which is we're selling the NFT daily, and you're getting a fractional. Your NFT represents a fractional share of that treasury in the sense that you vote on how that treasury is invested for profit and also for research grants. As the treasury grows through, let's say we make some very successful investments and we have some IPOs and generate multiples on return, that treasury is going to grow exponentially. So, you would expect the value of that NFT to appreciate as its fractional share of that treasury grows as well. We also see it with Nouns DAO because when you look at the secondary market, if you're not buying it at daily auction from the site, the secondaries trades at a premium to the daily auction prices. So that's kind of how it's being manifested right now. It's hard to say because there's no,
Yeah. No, that's
yes, you
very
do,
interesting, though.
it is a treasury. It is, at Nouns it's $50 million. It's just a different way of thinking about it. So when if you look at it from a venture philanthropy standpoint, on a venture philanthropy where you're donating to a nonprofit and they're making for-profit investments, expecting to grow the size of the treasury for the mission. I mean, you're just getting a tax write-off on what you're putting in, and you're hoping that the mission will grow by smart investing. So this kind of at least gives you a liquid asset in the form of an NFT. Now, I think people will look at the mission and how well you're investing the treasury from the DAO. And if the treasury is being used to advance the mission successfully, in our case, it's going to be measured based on ROI and cures that are coming out that are impacting people, then I think you're going to see a premium be applied to it where you say, well, now I'm buying into not just my fractional share, but my fractional share of what I think the future value of this DAO could be based on its past history. And then there's some intangible benefit to the art itself. And I do think that this is true. I mean, you can look at it and say, well, it's just a digital image, but if we've got high quality art that's really appreciated, and that art actually represents the mission that's doing great things, provably, because we're open and transparent, then your association to that high quality art and that mission should carry some kind of social premium to it as well.
Yeah,
So,
understood.
this is new territory, right? It's hard to
Yeah.
say, but people are already doing this just for a tax write-off. So if you can do it instead on a global basis to advance a mission that you
Yeah.
can identify with publicly that
Yeah.
has a visual art that has value, then
Yeah. And a
it
good risk
should
reward
have value.
potential.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and you mentioned, and this is really new forms of governance and economics, and you know just exciting way of putting all of these together for everyone's benefit, it seems.
Yeah,
So
it is. And but the difference is so the difference is value accrual because I think when you look at it, there are a lot of DAOs that are out there selling tokens and saying, okay, you can be part of a DAO and you got your token. But if you don't have value accrual in mind, and not to say that we're distributing returns to the tokens, but if the money in the DAO is not being used to grow the DAO's treasury, then you really are counting on hype and somebody to pay a higher price for that
right.
without
Yeah.
really any tangible reason. So there are a lot of
Mm.
DAOs out there that you look at and say, okay, great, you're trying, you got a great idea and a great cause, but if you're not able to grow that treasury through some kind of value accrual for the DAO itself, why would you expect the token that has governance and participation in that DAO to grow in value? And so I think that's an important
Mm.
mechanism right now is to really think through what's the value accrual mechanism for any one of these tokens that
Yeah.
represent a DAO.
Hey, what chains are you both using for these different projects? So, Brian, what chain are you using for Cerebrum DAO?
Cerebrum and Cherubs are on Ethereum.
Right, I thought so. Okay, Maddie, what chains are you using, or is being? Do you know what chain is being used for the INFS?
Oh, you caught me off guard. I think it's running on Ethereum.
So have you guys been keeping up with Ethereum and the merge, and what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I have been. So Cherubs is going. We're migrating testnets tomorrow, but we're going to hold off on the launch until after the merge is complete. So we're probably going to start public sales of Cherubs at the end of the month, hopefully. Hopeful for it. Following it, we're testing on it. We're hopeful for it. So, but I won't be putting out anything until the merge happens.
Understood.
Probably a good move, man.
How about you, Maddie?
Yeah, I'm not going to be putting out anything on Ethereum until after the merge happens either. I'm quite nervous about this. I mean, I've been watching Ethereum and participating since the original DAO back in I think it was in 2016. I've just seen things on Ethereum go splendidly wrong before. So I echo Brian's hopefulness and really wishing for the best on this one, and certainly there's a lot to gain should things go smoothly, but there are also a lot of things that can go wrong. So I really for me it's not something that I want to take additional risk on for my own portfolio, but rather I believe in Ethereum as kind of the backbone of the decentralized internet, and I believe that it will continue to play that role. But I think that there's a lot riding on this one very technical aspect, and since I'm not an incredibly technical person, and even the most technical people really can't even predict exactly how this is going to play out. So I think that the rest of us need to kind of take a step back and just kind of become spectators rather than participants until we're through it.
That's the feeling I get too. You mentioned nervous a bit, and I get that sense too in the feeling that you mentioned, just as a spectator and seeing this big deal coming up, and it has a big effect, and it's not certain, and so there's a lot riding on all of this, and yeah, in some sense that it is quite historic, of course, and so that seems pretty special as well to be around and watching it.
It is, and no matter how this goes, you're going to be able to tell people in 5 or 10 years from now that you were involved, and they're going to go, "Wow!" Just so that's um,
Yeah, that's cool.
no matter
Good
how it
times.
goes, honestly.
Right. No, that's pretty cool. It's true. I mean, it does feel special to be involved and in any way as possible. And, even just here talking with both of you and hearing the stories of various people who are involved directly in the space and making it advance and taking advantage of the technologies that are being built and provided, and we're working with others across different industries or across different skill sets, and creating these tools, these vehicles that, in the forms of these NFTs, and so it's pretty exciting. Yeah. Do you see any other needs that are not yet being filled that might get some attention? I guess DeSci is one of them. Brian, Maddie, do you see any other needs that could get some filling?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite optimistic about blockchain gaming. The properties of tokenization and Web3 are particularly um, helpful when it comes to those type of things. And um, I believe that social media itself needs an overhaul. I'm advising different companies on both of those avenues. Who I
Nice.
believe that's it's for me, being an advisor on a project. It's this very selective project process where it's not usually like because I hear uh, projects being pitched to me several times a week,
Right.
several times a day, and for me it's less about um, what exactly is going on, more about what are the areas that I feel. So I'll first look at an area as interesting, and I feel is going to take more prevalence, in the coming years, um, and then look
Right.
for somebody who's leading in that area, and I
Okay.
feel is going to be able to kind of dominate that space. That's generally how most of the most of my advisory roles come about. Um, I
Nice.
believe that those are just a
So
few
yeah.
of the most exciting ones.
Yeah, that's actually good. You mentioned that games and social media. You've kind of hit it on the head as well. I feel like those are some areas that will definitely be getting some advancement over the coming few years, I would imagine. So yeah, good to see about that. The games, especially, I feel like are right around the corner. If not, there's already stuff out there, but just advancing that, and it sounds like you've got your eye on it, and you're already advising for a project or two in that space. Cool.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. Well, we are going to be wrapping up our show for today. Maddie, is there anything else you'd like to share with us, or where can people find you to follow you and what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm available on Twitter at Monty Greenspan, on LinkedIn as well. Just type in my name, you'll find me. If you want to keep in touch with our analysis and market insights, subscribe to the newsletter on quantumeconomics.io.
Perfect. Well, it's been super rad to have you on the show today. You've got a wealth of experience and insights for us. And yeah, I'm glad that we could catch some of those from you. And you're welcome
Thanks
back
for having me.
anytime. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
welcome back anytime. Cool. And Brian, what about yourself? Any last things you wanted to share with us? And where can people find you, follow you, and keep up with what you're doing, Cerebrum DAO, and more?
Yeah, fantastic. So B Majerski, so Magierski. I'm very few Majerskis out there, so it's easy to find me too. That's my Twitter handle. DSci Collective, so it's DESCI Collective. That's the handle on Twitter. That's our DSci community. We are doing NFT passes for that community. There's a allow list open now. CharibsDAO.com is where you'll find the Cherubs, and Cerebrum's TBD. It's coming soon, so you'll find it at our Twitter handles. We'll be announcing it through the other properties.
Excellent. Well, thanks again for your time to the both of you. And yeah, thanks everyone in the audience for listening. We hope it's been a good experience for you. Join us for the next Tokel Talk. We'll have Long Do on the show from Anomura, is a play and earn RPG strategy game. So see the announcements for further details. And to keep up with the latest, follow us on Twitter at Tokel Platform and join our community in the Tokel Discord. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. We'll talk again soon, okay? Goodbye.